What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 35 of Two Guys, One Court. Once again, my name is Zach Goldstein.
And my name is Braylon Zhang.
And welcome to our 35th episode. Big milestone for us, I'd say. But today is going to be the final episode before the regular season begins.
Season 2 up next.
Season 2, right? We're very, very close to Season 2. We're looking at a great season in the NBA, and we're going to kind of recap basically the highlights of the preseason. This is not going to be highlighting LeBron James or Anthony Edwards.
I
wish it was
LeBron. That's my king right there, you know.
But we are highlighting the gritty bench players, or the players that get a lot of press because they're my king's son. Who knows? But we're gonna get into that before we get fully into reviewing all their stats and everything that they've done this preseason. I'd like to give a shout out to Product.co, our sponsor, for all your social media marketing needs. Make sure to visit them at Instagram at Product.co and follow us on all social medias at Two Guys, One Court, and make sure to DM us if you want any of our merchandise. So, straightforward to get into the season, there are two teams that stood out the most, that exceeded their expectations, in my perception, towards the second half of the preseason, and those were the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
Starting off with the Lakers, there's one main player who was drafted, I believe, number 17th from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Dalton Knecht, and he has displayed a phenomenal progression over his short stint getting good minutes in the preseason. Recently, yesterday, 2 days ago, October 17th, against the Suns, he was in for 32 minutes and scored a whopping 35 points. Had a lot of, I think about 10, 15 clutch points in the fourth quarter. He had a 55.6% field goal and shot 8 threes, or made 8 threes out of 13 tries, and his performance kind of blew me away.
Yeah, you know, he had 7 rebounds. He had 2 steals also and 2 blocks as well, which is just showing how good as he is as an offensive player, he is still an amazing defensive player as well, which is what you really want in a player these days. You know, you want a player who can play offense and can also stay on the court while playing D, you know, locking people up, getting steals, forcing turnovers, and then eventually getting fast breaks to, score more points for your team.
Yeah, and I know this is the preseason, but he's shown clear linear progression. In the last 4 games, you know, he started out against Phoenix October 6th with 7 points, then the next game 13 points, then 19 points, and then his 35-point performance to get the Lakers the win 2 nights ago against the Phoenix Suns really, really just demonstrates his progression, and I believe that he will be, it hurts for me to say this, but I think he'll be easily the best rookie on that Lakers team, and I'm excited to see what he has for the regular season.
Yeah, he wasn't drafted really high, right?
He was 17th draft pick.
He could be a potential steal.
But he kind of shot out. Yeah, this was a draft of a lot of no names, a lot of people that we didn't really know coming into the draft, talking about like those top 5 names.
Yeah, those top 5 names also are like really bad.
Yeah, like Zachary Starr, he is not playing.
No,
good.
It's Alex Starr.
Alex Starr.
Like
Sorry,
Zachary Rich something.
See, the fact that we messed up the names just adds to the point that they're not good players.
Yeah, no, they suck.
They'll provide for their teams because they're on not that great teams. But what we've seen in the preseason has not, persuaded mine or Braylon's opinion in the slightest.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, my favorite player in the draft, obviously, it's going to be Bronny James,
Obviously.
That's my king's son, but he's really bad.
Yeah. I think I also kind of add to a different team, but Donovan Clingan, he has not had an outstanding performance.
I thought he was going to be really good from
with
his performances in the summer league, but
in the summer league, yeah. But I do think that he is, one of those players. He's a big that has a lot of upwards potential, but I still have yet to see, some spurts of greatness in the preseason or the summer league with those top 5 picks. But who knows? This is obviously, opinions that are being told to you way too early. All these players have not played a regular season game, but I'm excited to see what they have in store for us. But to go off of who you mentioned earlier, Bronny James, he has steadily increased as an okay player in his preseason as his role in the Lakers.
Yeah, but his role isn't steadily increasing though. his role is steadily declining. He's becoming worse as he plays.
Well, he has. He's been obviously averaging more points per game. He's been contributing to his team more, but why I was very hesitant and very specific in how framed that is because he's not gonna do well in the NBA. He's getting a lot more reps and he's getting a lot more minutes, and that's why he's producing more, and his role has increased on this preseason team, But I really don't see a future for him in the NBA if it wasn't for LeBron James.
Yeah, but the Lakers coaching staff is not going to mirror the amount of minutes he's getting right now when the
obviously, yeah, and they're not going to mirror any minutes except for breaking history and having a father-son on the same team in the NBA.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you. What do you think his long-term future will look like in the NBA? Because
honestly, I think the second LeBron retires, if Bronny isn't averaging 10 points per game or something,
which he won't be,
he's out of the league. I feel like he'd be way too expensive to maintain, as he is the greatest player of all time, son. Once LeBron James is either washed or out of the league, then there's no point in keeping Bronny to ensure LeBron would stay in the league.
I think that it would be in the Lakers' best interest, and not cold for them to do, not a bad thing, but I think it would be in the Lakers and Bronny's best interest to, whenever LeBron retires in 1 or 2 or 3 years, hopefully 5 or 8.
Or 20.
Or 20, maybe another 22, 23. But when he retires, I think it's best for Bronny to go to a very young team.
Yeah.
To go to a team where the kind of core of the roster is developing as players and to form a core. And that's where his skills and his talent can be utilized, because he doesn't have to be the best person on that court, because since they're building the core, he can, give his kind of defensive abilities to that team in the ways that they need. Because this is such a developed Lakers team, in that the roles are very clear for everybody. If he gets on a team with a lot of young players, possibly not OKC, because I feel like they're established.
They're too good to have someone like Bronny.
But maybe a team like the Trailblazers.
Trailblazers, I'd say Pistons
would be a great team.
Would you say Wizards? They're not as young, but
they're not young.
They don't have a lot of space for a good player. They have 0 good players on their team.
I'm looking for opportunities. I'm not going to add Wizards in that realm of opportunity.
No. Once you enter the Wizards, you're sucked into a black hole of turning bad. That's what happened with Jordan Poole.
Yeah, but who knows? Jordan Poole is a man who likes how many reps that he's getting, but it will do no good to an NBA team.
Yeah.
And it will do no good to, how mad the coach is being at you, because we know and we've seen from his Warriors stint that that's not a great performance from the coach's perspective. You don't love when a player chucks up 18,000 threes and scores maybe 38 points, but he took all the shots in the game.
All right, maybe in his defense, there isn't as many girls courtside in DC.
That is very fair.
GSW.
But moving back to Bronny James, I think that he'll have a rough couple years to the start of his career, but I think he can blossom into a very, very useful role player on a young team. Once the record-breaking history stuff is away with his relationship and on the court relationship with LeBron James. But I think that wraps up the Lakers.
Yeah.
Preseason, they have some clear flaws, but a lot of stuff to look forward to, especially at the very beginning of the regular season, to see how all their storylines span out. But moving on, do you want to introduce the Memphis Grizzlies Japanese star, right?
Yeah, I know my people the best. I'm gonna start with Yuki Kawamura on the Memphis Grizzlies.
He is 5'8".
He is 5'8".
Just like Isaiah Thomas.
Just like me.
Just like you.
I'm just like him.
Exactly.
He is an amazing...
Except you're not in the NBA, but you'll get there someday.
I will be getting there someday.
Listen,
and I'm also getting past 5'8".
If Yuki can do it, then Braylon can, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're 5'8". He has been a shock to the NBA landscape.
He's been an insane playmaker. Scoring, maybe not so much, but you can't blame it on the guy.
The stats do not speak for everything. He does average around 5-6 assists per game. Obviously, he doesn't get a ton of minutes. He peaked at 10 points per game against Indiana on October 14th. But this player is something special. If you watch him play the game, you will think the stats belong to a different person because his elusiveness, his movement, his passing, his playmaking on the court is like no other rookie.
He's like CP3 2.0.
Okay. We'll see if he gets there.
That's CP6. He's like
No,
3 times 2.
I'm really glad you can do math, but look up his name and watch his highlights. His playmaking is truly like no other. He's a very creative passer like Magic Johnson. And honestly, he looks like a very exciting player.
Yeah, he can thread the needle perfectly.
Perfectly, yeah.
He can find gaps in like the D, and he can absolutely thread the needle and shoot the ball through one of the players.
Shoot the ball through the hoop.
Yeah,
that's what works in basketball.
It's not the hoop though. It's through the.
I know. Through the other players' legs, whatever. Through the gaps in the court, he will find his teammates. He will be a big contributor to his assist count on the Memphis Grizzlies. It's like, this guy is exciting. He's going to be, he could be amazing, but that he's a clear liability.
It's like the Stephen A. Smith quote. It's like, if this man had a couple more inches.
I know.
If this man had a couple more inches.
And I'm going to stop you right there and add, whatever I'm going to say, because I didn't know where that was going. But if this man had a couple more inches, he would be an amazing player in the NBA. But an Isaiah Thomas is going to come once in 100 years. It is less than 100 years. This man is not going to be as good as a player like Isaiah Thomas, who's 5'8". Sure, he'll have some amazing playmaking moves, but he is going to be not unstoppable, completely stoppable.
Not MVP
on offense. No. I don't see how he could survive in the NBA and succeed. I think he can survive. I think he can be a great role player and kind of be good in like very scenarios where you need a lot of movement, you need some playmaking. I think he's a great prospect, and we'll see if he can get a couple more inches in him. But you never know with these short players, and 99% of the time they're just a liability to your team, and we will not see a lot of minutes from him. But it's something to talk about, and the highlights speak for themselves with his creative passing skills. And then moving on, we have not a rookie, but someone who has not been in the league in nearly 3 years. Basically a rookie. He last played January 14th, 2022. Lonzo Ball is back.
I was in like 8th grade at that time.
That was when Kyrie, Harden, and Durant were all in the Nets.
Yeah, that's when they all were on the same team.
Listen, we can think back to January of 2022, but we all know that was a long time ago to be injured. That time frame is so long. That's that's longer than Klay Thompson.
Yeah. Welcome back, Lonzo Ball.
But welcome back, Lonzo Ball.
We're happy to see you back in the league.
He has a metal knee, but he's gonna be. Looks like he's gonna be okay.
No, metal knee's gonna turn him into a shooting cyborg.
Right. He's basically a cyborg from the waist down. But he did have a very, very surprisingly good performance. It was pretty solid. 15 minutes, 10 points. And I think the one thing that I did notice watching that game is he sacrificed his body a little bit too much.
Yeah, that's not really smart for, being out for 3 years.
Not only were you literally just out for 3 years, but this is a preseason game. Even if you were coming back in the regular season, don't try that hard.
Plus, it's the Chicago Bulls. Nobody on the franchise tries that hard anyway, so
There's no reason to try to change that culture now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Not when the Bulls have maybe one All-Star on their team.
Not even.
Yeah, when was the last time Zach LaVine was on an All-Star?
2016?
2016, yeah.
When
he wasn't even on the Bulls.
Contest? Yeah. But it is great to see Lonzo back. We can finally have the brothers playing in the league. And I do expect some good things from Lonzo Ball because he is another great playmaker.
Yeah.
He's obviously a spot-up three-point shooter. That's his kind of specialty. Obviously a great passer. Might get caught sometimes on defense, but he makes up for it with his playmaking abilities, and I'm excited to see what he has in store for us this NBA season. And then moving on, because there's kind of nothing else to talk about for the preseason, but we'll make sure to get a lot for you when the regular season starts. we have our predictions on who's going to win the two kind of double-header first NBA games of the season.
Yeah, we have the two best teams in the East, followed with one of the best teams in the West and the GOAT.
And the GOAT, yeah, not the second best team in the West,
but the best player,
or the fourth,
the best player ever.
But the best player ever. On October 22nd, which is the Tuesday coming up, the regular season for the NBA season officially starts, kicking it off with the Boston Celtics hosting the New York Knicks, and then followed by, later that night, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be visiting yours truly, the King, LeBron James, and the Los Angeles Lakers for a late-night showdown next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we're just going to be predicting what are going to be the outcomes of those games, which we will probably be right about because there are only two games, and who will be the shining stars in those games. So do you want to start with your opinion on the Eastern Conference Showdown?
They have the ring ceremony going on. That'll sure be good motivation for the Celtics, but maybe that'll also be motivation to the Knicks.
Yeah, they're going to be the villains, especially in that very rowdy TD Garden Arena. We know that Boston fans are not the most friendly to New York.
We know that New York fans aren't friendly towards anybody.
I think it is the perfect rivalry, a classic Boston versus New York showdown. Who do you think will win the game?
I think Boston's going to win.
I think Boston has to win.
Home court advantage, ring ceremony, all the pressure's on them. They just won the NBA title. They have to win this game.
How do you think the cohesion of this New York Knicks team will play out? Obviously, with Michael Bridges and Cat just joining their team like a week ago.
I think Cat can put on some solid numbers this game. They're definitely going to be trying some new rotations like they had last year. They had a crazy amount of starting lineups each game. So I really am interested on how Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges will blend in with their starting lineup or potentially their bench crew.
I do have a concern with Karl Anthony Towns, specifically on this Knicks team with Tibbs as his head coach, because we know that Cat was a big person who took advantage of the minutes restriction on the Minnesota team. With the Timberwolves, Cat wasn't against taking, a breath on the bench, but we know that Tibbs is historically a person who literally plays his starting five for 40 plus minutes a game.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to see how that will affect Cat's health or improve his stamina this season. But I do think that it will be, he knows about it, but I'm sure it will be a shock to him on how it really feels like to play a game with Tibbs as his coach and playing those minutes, especially against a very, very tough component. The reigning title winners, the Boston Celtics. Obviously, I have the Boston Celtics winning this game.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
I'm not even a Celtics fan.
Who wouldn't?
I just still have the Boston Celtics winning. Maybe Mikal Bridges can teach Cat how to do the celebration right.
Yeah, but I also have in this game, I have a big performance coming from yours truly, Jaylen Brown. We've seen Jason Tatum get his Olympic medal. We know that he didn't get a lot of playing time, but it's not like this game is against Golden State with his coach that didn't really give him a lot of playing time in the Olympics, Steve Kerr, right? And this is Jaylen Brown's time to shine. He needs to prove to the world why he should have been put on that Olympic team and why he was the MVP Finals winner, right?
Yeah, Finals MVP. Beards off.
It's like a scruff. It's like a little scrubble now.
I'll shave the beard off for him.
You're really putting it all out on the line there for Jaylen Brown. I'm excited to see that. But I am really, really excited to see how Jaylen Brown will perform. And I just have an instinct. I have nothing to back this up, but I just have an instinct. And please, please, please don't be surprised if he has a 30-plus point game. But moving on, we have the Western Conference Showdown. The Minnesota Timberwolves going to Hollywood playing the Los Angeles Lakers. Who do you have winning that game?
Well, who do I have winning the game?
Yeah, I think this is pretty clear.
Yeah, this is pretty
clear.
I'm going to go with the away team, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I will second that. I think this game, do you think this is maybe game 1 of the season, do you think they'll, if it's not a close game and the Lakers getting blown out, do you think they'll put LeBron in with Bronny like a couple minutes in the fourth?
Yeah, possibly.
So you think the first game of the season will be the game that breaks all records, breaks history?
Yeah, no, but they have to do it.
I think they have to do it.
It's literally the first game of the season.
Right,
That's
they're home,
time.
perfect timing, but they're not going to win this game. And I can say that confidently.
Not at all.
With this young core. And also, we didn't talk about this, but Rob Dillingham, the rookie on the Timberwolves, the point guard, he's like only 6 foot, 6'1",
and he's also super good.
He's amazing. He's an amazing playmaker. He's very fast. He reminds me of a young Kentucky crisp De'Aaron Fox with his agility, with his speed, with his playmaking and offensive abilities. Also, he's a lockdown on the defense. And I think that's a really good matchup, but I do see the Timberwolves kind of prevailing there and winning that game. But that pretty much wraps up this episode. The 35th episode is in the books. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll make sure to get some more episodes out when the regular season starts next Tuesday. So thank you for watching.